Spellcasting 301. Spring Break. Oh man. This was the third and unfortunately final game in the Spellcasting series. Now, it came out in 1992 and I didn't get to play it until about probably 1996, 7, one of those 2 years. See, that's what happens when you don't have, you have to rely on certain things. But yeah, this is the third of the spellcasting series. And of course, with the title being Spring Break, it's set during Sorcerer U's Spring Break. They were really definitely going for a college theme for these games. Well, it is the third game, and for most of the game, it seems very deceptive of who is who your enemy is. You really don't know who your enemy is to a degree. It seems one way, but turns into something else at the end. So, and this used a new layout for the series. Legend had updated their usual format for a game, which actually allowed a I'd say more useful map if you would to quote look at the map option. Although it's not as visually appealing as the prior maps, you still get an idea of where you are. It's more like a flowchart type thing, similar to what I saw in Beyond Zork. However, it still has many graphical based puzzles and other things in it. But in this part, we actually start with Ernie dreaming. There is a woman in the dreams, but before he can even, get to know her, he wakes up. As the boys of Who Delta Fart are heading off to spring break at Fort Naughtytail. They're using a magic carpet that was, well, I could say it's refurbished, but one of the key controls is not available to you. This is actually the game's form of copy protection, because you have the path to head to Fort Naughtytail in one of the feelies that they had with the game. That was their term for some of the extras that came with the game. So if you didn't have that, you were screwed, unless you had a very good memory from playing it with someone else. So it wasn't necessarily good copy protection. People found a way around it. I know for a fact I found a way. Well, no, I never did with this one. I did with other games, but as we make our way to Fort Naughtytail, Ernie, of course, has to, as he's the only one who remains awake after the president's speech, he is the sole one in charge of getting them there safely, so he has to, of course, get stuff overboard. Now, this will add to his set of tasks that must be performed in Fort Naughtytail over the course of about a week, a little over a week. Because that's how long spring break lasts. Uh, Actually, spring break is staggered. When in real life, the spring break time is actually staggered over a couple of weeks. I think this was done to offset any overwhelming problems that would come from everybody going to Fort Lauderdale or the resort areas of the world for spring break. Mm. Anyhow, then they arrive at the resort. They pull together resources to get their rooms. However, it's perfectly acceptable if you fall asleep in the lobby. Well, of course, once you get things going and you get tasked with reclaiming all your stuff, as the boys head out to the beach, we run into guys from a rival frat at a rival university. And these guys are of the university Get a Load of You, or GLY, who Delta Fart is usually known as HDP. Well, as these two sort of square off, so to speak, before things can get too out of control, a mysterious, lovely figure appears. This is the judge. And so, she decides that there will be a competition between the two frats. They will be the judge, awarding points as follows. And so now, the two frats must now face off in a series of various tests and events that fall along the spring break lines. Something like weightlifting, which, because of the superior magic abilities that Who Delta Fart has access to, i.e., Ernie, uh, they can successfully win most of these competitions, if not all. And this is how the scoring of the game is set up. If you type in score at a given time after the event start, you get scores. Of course, Ernie should be present for every event, as his magic is what's going to help win it, or his planning. And so you go around and you must set things up to win these events. Now, some are more traditional or simple for spring break. There's a sand castle building, volleyball. There are some that would be more specific for the area. There's a bullfighting competition. There are some that are just downright juvenile for college students. One such thing is wrecking the town. And of course, the ever popular wet t-shirt contest. In fact, you've got to use magic, cunning, and all that to get everything you need to succeed in these competitions. And of course, during some of these competitions, or during some of the events in the game, you're going to get thrown in jail. In fact, it's even said in the game that it's not a good spring break unless you get thrown in jail once. So obviously, you're going to have what you need to escape jail each time you get caught in jail. And there's various ways to escape jail. I mean, there's a frog in there that's turned into that. You can turn them into a prince, and you get out that way. There's something you can eat that will make you slip through the bars. That kind of stuff. You could somehow dig your way out. Of course, the same way won't work twice. So you have to be very careful what you use when. And part of the reason why it won't work twice is because certain items aren't available more than once. Now, also during all this, Ernie will come across the Sorcerer's Guild in Fort Naughtytail. And they'll give him 3 seemingly impossible tasks, or more impossible than the last tasks. And so Ernie's going to have to go through. He's going to have to complete these tasks. He's going to have to help his frat win these competitions. He's going to have to get out of jail. He's got to find all these items that were lost. Also, you'll have to raise funds to buy some stuff. You can't steal stuff. Luckily, there's a casino. However, it's crooked. So you're going to have to do something to straighten that out. And I'm going to say this right here and now. That's an area where it helps to save scum, however they want to call it nowadays. But, of course, the game doesn't allow you to save while you're in the casino. So you literally have to leave it to save. And of course, every move you make is about 5 minutes in the game time. So it's recommended to save, reload. In fact, that's the only thing I did not put any of the watchers of my playthrough through. Because simply put, you know, money is one thing. It's like you don't know how things will play out. Walkthroughs will recommend you get about 2,000 gold pieces in the casino by the time you stop playing in the casino. That'll allow you everything you can in the game. Now, of course, as the events play out, and you can tell when a chapter is changing, when you're about to end an event or start a new event, because each chapter is graced with the image of a woman in swimsuit. Why? Because it was the early 90s. And this was made by someone who pretty much, I think, grew up, saw the first 2 Revenge of the Nerds movies, because there were no more after that until years later. Anyhow, as they are successful, and each, as the score adjusts and you hopefully are more successful each time round, you finally get your last task, which is a bit of a surprise to everyone. This is the one that will, of course, decide it all. There is a beast that, quote, runs amok in the town every 80 some years, literally destroying the place, supposedly. So the frat that will win the competition will be the one that can bring back the head of the beast. So, this is where it changes. The boys of Who Delta Fart come to the conclusion that Ernie's the best one to find it, so they all go together with Ernie to find it. And if you've been paying attention to everything and get your clues and the map, you can find it quite easily. However, once you find the beast's lair and come face to face with it and manage to subdue it, the judge shows up and reveals, dun 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 dun, that the judge was actually Joey Rottenwood, your evil stepfather. All this time we were thinking that was a game in which we were fighting against another frat to prove our superiority. Nope, nope, we were just being manipulated by Joey Rottenwood. See, his plan is to take the subdued beast and because when a calming spell wears out, the animal will go on a rampage. And you have very little time to defeat Joey in this time frame. And of course, because the other games had this effect in it, you have to have that. And now I just remembered. There was also a fight in the game, which made an extra task. Fight at Club. Where we have a brief run-in with Ernie's crush, which we've been losing interest in her. But back to Joey now. So now we have to defeat Joey. And it is one of those simplistic things. And we also find out that the bull that we caught was just a calf. That the real one has multiple heads and is much fiercer. As we somehow summon her, and she swallows Joey whole. And then spits him out because apparently Joey Rottenwood does not is not one doesn't agree with them. In fact, the taste is so bad that the bull has to turn around, raise their tail, and of course Joey Rottenwood goes, "Oh no, not again, and get completely and thoroughly buried in bullshit. Let's face it, the Spellcasting Series has had the running joke of Joey being defeated by shit, crap, manure. Insert your particular poo word here. And so the game ends with Ernie being successful. We find out that the bull's head will explode if detached after a certain time frame of being detached from the body, one of the heads, which then levels a portion of Fort Naughty Tail. The mayor and the sheriff are like dumbstruck. We also see the girl that Ernie saw in her dreams. And we are left at the end of this game with, will Ernie meet this woman again? How will he survive his final year of university? Find out in Spellcasting 401, The Graduation Ball. Also, Joey has managed to escape again, and all that. Was this a fun game? Yes, it was all right. It kept with some of the silly traditions in the games. The departure from the mechanics of the usual scoring can make it feel hard if you know if you're progressing or not. But you have time to get everything you need for each task together. I mean, it was an alright entry. It's a shame they never got number 4 made. It probably would have been a nice ending to the story. But I'll go more into that one and when I talk about the whole series as a whole. But this was an alright game. It it still had the same pacing or the urgency of getting tasks done by a certain time, although you had a little bit more time to get everything together for each task and performing each task. And you had to be at the location for each task. So there was that. Overall, like I said, this was a decent entry in the franchise. I wish they would have gotten that fourth one out. But it's definitely one to experience. Like all the previous, you could have nice or naughty mode. It played on all the tropes of the college coming of age genre that was about at that time. And that's all I'm going to say about Spellcasting 301. Next time I do one of these retrospectives, next week when this retrospective would air, I'll be talking about the series as a whole. However, until then, take care and have fun all. Bye.